Hey, this is Jorge Garcia, and you're listening to the official Lost Podcast, hosted by ABC.com.
Welcome to another special summer edition of the official Lost Podcast, hosted by ABC.com. Just recently, we traveled down to San Diego for Comic-Con 2006, where we gathered lots of fan theories, cast interviews, and other video content that we'll be sharing with you in the upcoming weeks. Today, we're bringing you a highlight from the Q&A session at Comic-Con, where our panelists include executive producers Damon Lindelof, Carlton Cuse, and Brian Burke, joined by cast members Jorge Garcia and Daniel Dae Kim. But before we go to the panel, don't forget to check out ABC.com for additional content, including a compilation of fan theories gathered while down at Comic-Con, and some video highlights taken from the panel. And as promised, as we get closer to the Season 3 launch of Lost, we'll have a video podcast with Damon and Carlton answering your fan questions. Until then, enjoy.
Our first year here was 2 years ago when we premiered the show here. And it was about half full, and it's so surreal to see all the way back, and we can't thank you enough for all your support.
Thank you guys for coming out.
You know, there are a lot of amazing theories about the plot lines and about the characters and a lot of stuff out there on the internet. I'm just curious, what's the strangest theory each one of you have heard, either about a plot line or your character on the internet?
I think the strangest theory is that it's all taking place in the dog Vincent's mind.
That's true. It is also the correct theory. You heard it here first.
I once heard one that they said that Hurley was Claire's baby grown up. That was on the island ahead of time.
That's good.
I started that theory.
Are you guys ready to start asking questions? Go right ahead.
We will try to be as non-evasive as possible.
Fantastic. Hey guys, thanks for making the most intelligent show on television.
Thank you.
Question on the mythology. I mean, the Hatch, Dharma, Hanso, the others, the back stories. How much of you guys are making it on the fly? How much of it is in a secret plan, locked in a drawer? And how much in advance do the actors get in on what's going to happen?
We have never been asked that question before. It's quite honestly shocking. I think probably we should start with Jorge and Daniel, because as the actors getting the script, you know, I'd be curious to feel what was their impression of how far ahead we plan it.
Well, we get a script about 2 to 3 days before we start shooting it, and that's pretty much when we find out what's going to happen in that episode.
Now, we actually sit down. We have an endpoint for the show. We have an overarching mythology for the show. And we sit down before each season, as we did this year, and work with all the writers. We spent 3 weeks, and we sort of planned out our whole arc for what Season 3 was going to be. But within that, there's a lot of room for improvisation, and we feedback a lot on what the actors do and what sort of relationships develop. So there's sort of an overarching plan, but we also write the show episode to episode and try to keep it organic by reacting to what we see on screen.
You know, the rule of thumb is we never ask a question on the show, you know, specifically a mythology question, without knowing the answer to it, or else we're stumbling around blind. You know, where we are traditionally more organic is the characters, how they relate to one another. You know, sometimes we want to have characters be enemies. In the case of Season 1, Jin and Michael, Daniel and Harold's characters, were supposed to sort of be sworn enemies for the majority of the season, and we loved the chemistry between the actors, and we decided, hey, it makes much more sense for them to buddy up and be friends. So, you know, you take a guy who basically attacked another guy in the 4th episode of the year, and by the end they're on a raft together. So you have to kind of look at what's happening and write to that as well. But when it comes to the Dharma Initiative and the deeper, mythological foundation of the island, the others specifically, you kind of have to know what you're doing and write to that and hope that you don't fuck up.
Hi, guys. Thank you so much. Jorge, I just first have to say, I love you. You kicked Josh's ass, and it was great TV, so I thank you for that. So my question is, because of how huge your internet following is, you guys pretty much have immediate access to a ton of fan feedback. And I was just wondering how much influence, if any, you feel that should have on the creative process.
It does have influence. I mean, we try not to get too influenced by it, but for instance, after season 1, there was a lot of fan feedback that we didn't answer enough questions. So when we set out to write the finale for season 2, that was very much in our mind, and we tried to answer more questions in the season 2 finale, and that was in direct response to the internet feedback.
But now, you find yourself in a situation where at the end of season 2, the feedback has become, it was too mythologically dense, the show's getting maybe too complicated, and we have to sort of readjust again. So the fans always determine the barometer, it's the Goldilocks thing where the porridge is always either too hot or too cold, but it's never just right. And the fans are really there to tell us, to temperature gauge it, because we're wrapped in our little cocoon in the show, and there's no one there to say stop, go back. Other than the most loyal fans who are on the net and also writing their own stuff about the show.
And definitely the fan response led to the new scheduling and had enormous impact, not with us only, but also with ABC. So it was because of you guys and everybody basically complaining about the repeats on the show that ABC scheduled the show in this new 2-pod configuration, which we're incredibly excited about. Now when Lost is on, it's on. When it's not on, it's not on. There won't be any confusion. There won't be waits for weeks. And we're designing this... Yeah. And we're designing the show in 2 sort of distinct pods. The fall pod of 6 episodes will be like a little mini-series, and it's going to be great.
Thanks a lot.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming. This is actually my first panel, so...
Wow, congratulations.
Okay, and you guys are basically going to hate me, but first season, Emmy winning, awesome. Second season, not nominated for Best Drama Series. Were you surprised? Because I wasn't.
Wow.
Oh.
Well. No, it's okay. It's okay. It's going to be okay.
Honestly, I want to know. Are you surprised?
We were disappointed, and yes, a little bit surprised. In our estimation, we are very proud of season 2. Was it a different show than it was in season 1? Absolutely. And season 3 is going to be much different than season 1 or 2. The show, that's a new pilot every year. And, although I'm very eager to hear why you weren't surprised, the idea of knowing that we were going into sort of more sci-fi territory, that the show was going to be darker, we were going into the Hatch, introducing sort of the Dharma Initiative, Hansel Foundation of it all, etc. The reality is Emmy voters, is not necessarily a sci-fi crowd. For us, and this is not just, throwing shout-outs to shows we love, why is Battlestar Galactica not in there either? That's surprising.
Exactly.
I mean, why did they get no nominations? At least we got 9. So I think I think that tells you something about, sort of what the tastes are. And we can't turn around and now say, screw the Academy because they gave it to us last year. So, we feel really proud of season 1. We want the Emmy, the drama win from season 1 to mean something. So we have to sort of take our licks and, it's really motivated us in season 3. We don't write the show to get Emmys. We write the show because it's cool and we want you guys to like it. And that's pretty much it.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. If anyone wants to know why she wasn't surprised, she's sitting in the front row, third seat over to the left.
Hey, you guys. For the record, I was shocked that you guys didn't get nominated.
Thank you.
I let out a scream. I was not good. Nearly woke up my neighbors at 5 in the morning. They were not happy. Anyways, the first season, you guys, it took place during 48 days. Second season was like 23. Do you guys have an idea of how long you want the entire series to, like, how many days it's supposed to take place in?
Days? No, we've never actually counted days. I mean, I think that by the end of the show, hopefully we will have covered a lot of history, going back and forth. I mean, obviously we saw that statue. That statue is probably kind of
old. At least
50
years old.
At least. And probably a little older. Maybe a little older. So that, that was sort of dropped in there as a signpost that the history of the island may be a lot more extensive than we've dealt with on the show. So I think by the time the show is done, we'll have covered a lot of time. And in terms of how many days on the island specifically, I don't know, 117.
Yeah, it's interesting that you should ask about time because you're making a basic assumption that that they've been there as long as they think they've been there. And
oh no!
I would say by the end of season 3, you might have a very different idea.
Stop right there.
No, well,
Stop right there. No.
Damon, the actors looked surprised
they
when
came.
you said that.
They waited in line.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Thank you.
Damon, the actors actually looked surprised when you said that.
They're just acting, though. they know.
Hi, I absolutely love this show. Just needed to get that out of the way. Anyways.
Thank you.
In a recent interview that Carlton did with Osceola, he said that season 3 was going to be more relationship-based. And with all the feuding that's, battling back and forth between Skate and Jade, I was wondering if you ever considered just getting all of them together, making like Ska-Jade. And if that and if that couldn't work, then I want to see Hate with Hurley and Kate.
Wow.
Oh. Wow. Jorge got very excited about that. And he's trying to play it off now.
Would that be Curly? Would that be the Kate?
No, I
Curly?
think she said it was Hate.
Oh, I like it.
But you never know. That might be a dangerous thing for Kate because the last girlfriend.
It didn't. It's tragic.
No, we're definitely having more romance on the show this year. It was something we tried to get to last year, but storytelling we didn't quite get to where we wanted to. So yes, that is coming up, and there's a good reason that Jorge and Daniel are sitting next to each other.
And I'm the one giving stuff away.
Get that Jurley boat a-sailing.
Hi. First, I wanted to say that Daniel, you're one of my favorite actors. I loved you on Angel. I love you on Lost. You're great.
Thank you. That's very kind of you. Thank you.
My question is, Matthew Fox's character was supposed to die off in the first episode. You said that you have this grand plan. Has that affected the overall show, him living?
Well, obviously Jack living is a, fairly big deal. But, at the time that decision was made, we were probably only, 10 days into the development of the show. The real conversations that started happening about the history of the island, what the final episode of the show was going to be, who lived and who died, the sort of macro questions didn't really start until we were actually shooting the pilot. As most of you guys know, from the moment that we first sat down and started talking about Lost to the moment that we finished the 2-hour, pilot was roughly 11 weeks. So it was sort of like, should Jack die? No, Jack shouldn't die. Hey, we should have a pregnant girl. So all of those conversations were happening, and then once we were set and going to Hawaii and shooting the pilot, as Daniel and Jorge could probably tell you, more so I think with Daniel shooting the pilot, we'd pull the actors aside on the set and basically say, here's something you should know about your relationship, this is before the crash. This is what's going on. Yunjin needed to know that she spoke English, and that Daniel, this was a secret she was keeping from her husband, even though we didn't do that episode until, I guess that was the 4th episode of season 1. So when we had the information, we knew it. If Josh was reading a piece of paper and having an emotional reaction, he sort of needed to know what he was reading. So as far as the flashbacks goes and the character depth, we knew a lot more in the pilot, but we were still constructing the mythology of the show.
And I would just add one other thing. Who's to say Jack isn't dead?
I am. He's alive.
Kidding.
Yes.
Kidding.
No.
For now.
Or not.
Hey, guys.
Hi.
I'm just curious if next season we're going to finally see the underwater hatch.
The underwater hatch.
The underwater hatch.
What is this underwater hatch of which you speak?
Well, you know that cable?
Oh, the cable.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
If they went to the right, maybe swam out and
Wow.
checked it out.
Well,
I would not deny that there was an underwater hatch.
yeah. I wouldn't confirm it, but
Brian, what are your thoughts?
I don't speak English.
Are they acting surprised about the underwater hatch? Or they have poker face. They got it now.
Thanks a lot, guys.
thank you.
Our pleasure.
You're applauding us for being evasive?
What?
You're applauding us for being evasive, Jorge?
No, I knew that question was coming.
It always does.
I have a question. There's a guy I know who thinks something.
He's a liar.
Wait, before you proceed,
Okay.
are you that guy?
No. It's a guy I know,
Okay.
and he
'Cause
thinks
we can talk honestly between each other.
No one's
It's
listening.
not me. I swear. I swear it isn't me.
All right.
It's a
You
friend.
like
of mine.
him, or just like him?
What if I were to say I would give this guy $100,000?
Well, then it would
then
be.
then would it be you?
But he thinks that Rose and Bernard work for Dharma. So I want to get the answer right now so I can stick it in this guy's face. Does Rose Bernard work for Dharma?
One moment, please. No.
Thank you. That's all I want. Thanks, guys.
Take that, guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go get him.
That's ridiculous.
Hello?
Yeah.
It's a very specific portion line.
Hi.
Have you no shame?
What?
What?
Have you no shame?
Well, I have a little shame. Do you have any shame, David?
I have no shame.
Don't be cute. Tell us what you know about the Hanso Foundation.
The Hanso Foundation is a philanthropic organization that we have co-opted for the purposes of Lost. We stuck it at the end of an orientation film because we thought it would be
Those
fun.
films are real. We deserve the truth.
No.
We're
not real.
We came up with those films. We're writers.
They're
You're
fiction.
liars. You're promoting them as some sort of force for good, but they're not.
Look, you know how Dan Brown uses Opus Dei and the Da Vinci Code? We've taken the Hanso Foundation.
Stop. Since you claim not to know, why don't I fill you in? How about the name Jupe, a 105-year-old orangutan? How about a fire in Iceland? Do you know anything about... Stop that. Do you know anything about organ harvesting in Africa? How about the deaths of Hugh McIntyre and Darla Taff from the Global Welfare Consortium?
There are other people waiting to ask questions. We have no connection
I'm sure
with the
that they
Hanso
want me to
Foundation.
ask you questions.
We have no connection with the Hanso Foundation.
That's a lie. They run ads on your show. They're putting money in ABC's pockets to prove themselves as this great philanthropic organization.
Well, I mean, Maybelline runs ads on our shows, and we're not part of an international makeup global consortium.
Stop it. You're protecting them.
You're protecting a very real, very dangerous organization.
Look, it's not real. It's a television show. There is no Alvar Hanso.
It is real. The Hanso Foundation is real. The Dharma Initiative is real. Thomas Werner Mittelwerk is real. And what he's doing in Sri Lanka right now, he's doing terrible things. That's real. Where is Alvar Hanso?
He's an actor.
He's in a window on our TV show.
Alvar Hanso is real. And I am living proof of that. And my name is Rachel Blake, and I am real. And if you want the truth, you will go to HansoExposed.com. You have blood on your hands, you have blood on your hands, you have blood on your hands, and you disgust me.
Thanks. Thank you. Thanks. It was lovely.
Wow.
Thank you. That was great.
Jorge, what did you do to piss her off?
There's some tough-looking security guards here, huh?
Yeah, aren't they? Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Alrighty then. Wow.
Should we keep going?
Next question.
Yikes.
Wow, that's not going to be easy to follow up.
Well, if you take your shirt off, it'll.
No. I'm interested. First of all, thank you guys. I enjoyed the show. Very entertaining. Thank you very much. I've been looking at lots of theories, and we've all heard theories about they're dead, they're alive, purgatory, all of that. And within the last week, I've come across something that I've never seen before on my own, which is some theories behind the Land of Oz. And I wondered what kind of... check it out yourself. I wonder how steeped are you in the mythology behind the 100 years of stuff we have from Oz?
If you play Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon, from the beginning of our pilot, from the very first appearance of the Lost opening title, just as the O is approaching the screen, if you start it there, it'll completely sync up.
So, no coincidence to the Land of Oz being an invisible island in the middle of the Pacific, or that compass roses don't work on the island?
There are obviously Oz references in the show. Henry Gale is
Dorothy's uncle.
Is Dorothy's uncle Henry, and obviously he had a balloon that came there. And there are going to be and have been other Oz references in the show, which are either incredibly meaningful or they don't mean anything at all. As to sitting here and basically saying you've cracked it,
not likely that we're going to.
I don't think that's going to happen. But
not looking for that.
yeah, but
it's an interesting theory.
Yes, it is indeed. So
thank you guys.
Well done. Thank you.
Thanks for coming out. My question is, I know that the Lord of the Ring cast all got tattoos that were the same. Have the Lost cast thought about doing something in unison to, kind of cement the fact that you're like the greatest cast on right now?
Well, we haven't agreed on the design yet. We've only agreed on placement.
Thank you.
Hi. I was wondering what Sawyer nicknames we can expect in the future. I was hoping for maybe a Locke and Luther reference, perhaps.
What was the second part?
If Sawyer could call Locke Lex Luthor.
Oh, yeah, that's actually sort of a good idea.
We have 3 writers who just sit around all day and come up with Sawyer's insults and nicknames. That's their full-time job.
There is an amazing feature on the, if I may give the DVD a shout-out for a moment, on the Lost Season 2 DVD, where we have edited together every single insult that Sawyer has ever thrown out. And you can...
It's astonishing when you hear them all together.
You can sort of sit at home and play with your friends and try to figure out who he's talking to.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm a researcher that works in the spinal cord and paralyzation. I'm just wondering if you've already looked into the scientific explanations for curing paralysis, and if we're going to see the explanation for why John Locke is paralyzed, and coming up maybe
how the island is going to solve that in a realistic, slightly logical fashion.
Everything but the last part. We are definitely going to be back in the world of Jack's role as a spinal surgeon this year, as well as the mystery of Locke and why he's in the wheelchair is obviously a question that we have not yet answered, but we're not going to tell you exactly when. But yes, we are going to explain that eventually.
You will know definitively, and and one of the things that we talked about down here the very first time we came was the sort of idea of the show dancing between the supernatural and actual science, and as far as the island's healing abilities, Locke's ability to walk, the fact that Rose was cured, and many other sort of island mysteries. It's going to get a little bit scientific this year, which is going to be, fairly cool. We want to be able to bounce between those two worlds of reality and fiction. So hopefully you will be satisfied.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
From the scientific community, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And we thank the scientific community. It was a good question. I agree.
I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about the Mobisodes, and in particular, will I need to get a new phone to see them?
Technically, I don't know whether you're going to need a new phone to see them, but we are working.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think the deal is with Verizon, and then they're partnering up with Sprint and other carriers. So hopefully, if you have a phone that has vid streaming capabilities, you'll be able to watch it. It's just a matter of you might have to wait a day or two behind the people who have the first deal. But we don't want it. We want all the fans of the show to be able to see it, and then a week after they're available on phones, you'll be able to watch them on the net. So free of charge.
And they're our goal is to try to get them done so that they will fall in the period between our two pods of episodes. So there'll be at least some content coming out between the 6 episodes in the fall and the episodes that we run straight through in the spring.
How many are you guys going to do?
The plan right now is to do 13. And they're very short. They're just a couple minutes each. But I think when the fans see what it is, everybody keeps saying, "What are the Mobisodes? How's it going to work?" You guys have just sort of seen a little taste of it here, but we think it's really, really cool. And we didn't want to do anything. It's been really hard to get them off the ground because we didn't want to do anything that was a waste of your time, even 2 minutes. If it's lame, who cares? So we feel like if you're going to take the time to download it and watch it, that it should give you something that the show is not giving you or enhances your involvement in the show.
Is this on?
Yeah, hurry up. Just read the code.
Okay. The code is VIX7 ZXT97. Repeat. VIX7 ZXT97.
Wait, hurry up.
Go.
Actually, in the case of different characters, Hurley, for example, didn't exist until JJ saw Jorge in an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm. That show was on a Sunday night, and he came in the next morning and said, "Hey, did you watch Curb Your Enthusiasm last night?" And I said, "Yeah, it was really funny." He said, "That guy has to be on the show." So the part didn't even exist. This is sort of in the spirit of Jack dying. So Jorge, who could probably tell this story in much more humorous fashion, didn't even, when we asked him to come in and read, there was no character Hurley. Is that your recollection, sir?
Right. I read Sawyer signs when I went in. I didn't think I was up for Sawyer. It was just kind of like to give him a taste, and then I guess it was just kind of chatting it up. And then they wrote the part for me, and I think they got a lot of...
You got the part that didn't exist.
Yeah.
It was written for you.
We tailor the, I think this is a very important fact about Lost that differs from most television shows. We tailor the characters to the actors who we cast, and so as we're looking to add new characters, as we did last year or this year, we have sort of a general notion of what the character is going to be. Then as we find the actor we like, we then start kind of filling in the specific details to really fit that person. I mean, Adewale was a great example. We knew we wanted to introduce an African character, and that our initial notion was that he was going to be a priest, but ultimately, after we sort of sat with Adewale and got a sense of him, it became more complex, and thus it evolved into a story in which his brother was a priest, and that he was ultimately masquerading as a priest, and the stick was his idea.
And the other thing
stick is also going to have its own flashbacks.
As a young acorn,
acorns don't turn into sticks, Damon.
You're right. There's a constant dialogue happening between the actors and the producers and the writers, sometimes directly, sometimes indirectly, and very much the actor's experience playing the part often sort of echoes the character. So for this season, anybody who's reading anything about the show sort of probably aware of the fact that Terry O'Quinn was very frustrated, in terms of, here's a guy who season 1 is running around the jungle. He knows all the answers. He's on an axis of destiny. He finally feels like the island has provided him the answer, and the answer is that he has to sit at a computer every 108 minutes and push a button. And this frustrates him. Over the course of the season, both Locke and Terry get frustrated, and he would, say to us, I want a knife in my hand and kill things again. So we said, oh, you'll get your knife back, John Locke.
Or you will.
Season 3 we think is going to be really exciting, but, sometimes, as writers we have to frustrate the actors in order to tell the larger story. So
just as a final thing, for instance, we realized that Daniel speaks English.
Which is...
Don't tell anybody.
It's crazy.
So maybe you'll be seeing some more of that.
Yeah, and once they realized that I was Korean, they started writing more Korean for me. So if I were Caucasian, I think Jin would probably be Swedish.
Yeah, that's right. Originally, Jin's character was not Korean.
He was Swedish.
It was very weird because he was from Korea and married to a Korean woman.
And yet he thought he was Swedish.
Korean, but...
It's like when you guys found out that I was crazy, and then you started writing all that stuff.
Right. That too. Yeah.
We weren't going to talk about that, Jorge.
Exactly.
Man, you took your pills back there, didn't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Before this, you only have to last for 6 more minutes.
We thought your lawyer said it was inappropriate when we talked about that. I guess the gloves are off.
Hi, my name is Stuart, and I'm a Lostaholic.
Everybody, hi, Stuart.
Sorry, I'm really nervous just even talking to you guys, but Jorge, I love you so much, man. You have, I can't put it into words.
Thank you. The wristband's a great touch too.
Oh, I'm actually cosplaying as you later at the Masquerade Ball. That's why.
Breathe, brother, breathe.
I know I have to ask a question. So, Damon, how do you intend to only keep the show going as long as you wanted to and not let the executives drag it out any longer than that? And what about the rumors of possibly ending the show with a movie?
There's another question we never get asked. Basically, it's a very slippery slope. One of the things that we always talk about is the X-Files, which is, there is a plan, to do X number of seasons and then end it in a movie, and that, from our understanding, that was the original plan. But when a show is successful, the network, the powers that be, we're in a business. So, obviously the fact that the show does, get good ratings is the reason that we're all here right now. So we're sort of in a catch-22 scenario. And all we can do is stick to the original plan. We have at least probably 5 awesome seasons planned out. And at that point, after that, we would have to start tap dancing, which is something that we just don't want to do. 2 years from now, will we be in a climate where ABC or Touchstone says, okay, we'll let you end it, and what is the give in return? We don't know. But, obviously that is our preference as storytellers, and ultimately it will be up to us to sort of put our foot down and say, fine, you can do more episodes of Lost, but we are not going to have anything to do with it. And, it's hard for us to do that because we don't want to hang the writers or the crew or the fans out to dry because...
Or the actors.
Oh yeah,
But,
them.
you know, it's the unfortunate dilemma of network television. You know, it's we wish we could, you know, announce like J.K. Rowling, you know, there were going to be 7 Harry Potter books, and you sort of have that definitive sense of when it's going to come to a conclusion. And we struggle all the time with sort of a developed mythology, but not knowing how long it's going to play out. Yet, you know, the network invests a lot of money in the show, and you know, it's their business to, and their absolute right to make money off of this endeavor. That's what they're in business to do.
There could be a plan where we all of us together in this room, if we all promise not to tell anyone, that, you know, that we just stop watching the show in the 4th season, just, and then wait for the DVD. But then they'd go, oh, nobody's watching it anymore, so let's just cancel it, and then we'd end it. But it would, you know, the reality of ending it on our own terms, you know, is unrealistic. So we have to sort of think around corners a little bit.
Yeah.
Zombies.
That's right.
And when in doubt, zombies.
Thank you for just doing what you guys do.
Oh, thank you, man.
Thank you.
Thanks for your lost-aholism.
Hey, you guys, you are absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for getting me to watch TV. It's amazing what you guys have done. My question is for anyone, if this is possible to answer, what exactly is the literal translation of those hieroglyphics?
The literal translation of the 5 resolved.
Yeah.
Basically, hieroglyphics. Each character means something separate, but those 5 hieroglyphics together are the symbol for underworld. In Egyptian, they found it in.
But there are sort of, it's subject to interpretation, but that's kind of the closest translation.
Awesome. And second of all, could we get a Hurley hug by any chance?
Wow.
Not from Jorge.
Brian will give you a Hurley hug.
Even after you heard about the crazy thing? Even more? Okay.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you, guys.
You come on. No, come up here. Come up here.
Kidding.
Come on. Right over here.
We'll sell out,
That's
Jorge.
great. Really? This is Carlton pimping me out.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, here we go.
I got the numbers on my phone.
You're so sweet.
All right, they asked first, so that's it.
Okay, first off, a
Yeah.
big shout out from the fuselage.
Okay, go.
Shouting out back?
Shout back.
Okay, and a news flash for Daniel. I don't know if you've heard, but the U2 concert in Honolulu has been rescheduled to December 9th, and Pearl Jam is opening.
Wow. Now that's a show. I'll see you all there.
Okay, my question. Hi, Brian. Because I want you to answer it. What kind of additional casting, and are we going to have any more sequences off the island since we finally, at least think we made it off the island at the end of the season?
Well, unless it's snowing on the island, we definitely made it off the island for the first time. There's going to be new regulars on the show this year. We're still in the middle of casting some of them, so it's all unofficial right now. But our castmates will definitely see new people.
You know, we have said, and if you guys haven't heard, I mean, Desmond will be back on the show this year.
And the only acting Emmy nomination.
I'm sorry?
He was the only acting Emmy nomination, and a lot of people were sort of like, why didn't Daniel or Jorge get a nomination, as if he didn't earn it?
No, I
And
mean,
I think he did earn it.
No, but I mean, the rest of our cast, that was really painful to see. We have so many awesome actors on the show, and we were so surprised that we didn't get more nominations for our cast.
All right, thank
Thanks.
you.
Thank you.
All right, this is a yes or no question.
No.
Yes.
Is the monster a cloud of nanobots?
Is this the same guy from last year?
Did you ask that question last year?
No, that wasn't me.
Man, if I had a nickel for every time I got asked the nanobot question. No, it is not a cloud of nanobots. I'm sorry.
But at least we were honest.
See you next year.
You look so disappointed. He waited on mine 40 minutes for that.
When is Son gonna have Michael's baby?
Wow.
How did you know?
Wow. No, you didn't.
Wow.
I'm
Daniel?
personally offended by that.
Going back to the earlier question about how each season takes approximately 30 days of real time, I'd say somewhere in the range of season 13.
Yeah.
Season 14. I don't know.
By the way, I like your R.I.P. Ana Lucia shirt there. That's cool.
Wow. Let's just say there will be zombies in the delivery room.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello?
Hi.
Hi. I just wanted to ask, when the heck is Kate going to get with somebody?
Very soon. Very soon. We promise.
You promise?
We promise.
We
Cross
swear
our
to God.
hearts.
It depends on what you mean by get with.
Yeah.
Really. But
I think you know what she means by get with, Damon. Don't be playing coy. Don't be trying to get her to say things in front of like 5,000 people that she doesn't want to say.
It's a family audience, but yes, she is within the first 6 episodes. There is going to be. Kate will be officially making her selection.
Well.
Also, are we going to see any of Ana Lucia and Libby in any of the flashbacks in 3rd season?
I think that characters on our show, like Christian Shepherd, Jack's father, if you're dead, that doesn't mean you don't get a lot of story time. So let's just say that there are still things to be told, particularly about Libby, that we hope to get to.
We really loved working with Cynthia Watros and Michelle Rodriguez, and sometimes the story demands casualties. In the case of Michelle, we had, despite great cynicism among some people, we really had planned that out as a 1-season arc. With Cynthia, as much as we valued her as an actor, when we sort of came to that point, we thought it would just be more intriguing to have Libby die before she could sort of reveal all the answers to these questions. But obviously, we've left the audience dangling. We know she was in a mental institution, and we know that she gave Desmond the boat. But we have a lot of blanks to fill in, and some of those blanks will be filled in over the course of season 3 and some beyond.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My question is for Jorge. Is Hurley going to get any better luck?
How is that question for me?
You can't get worse luck.
Yeah.
There's like 3 people at this table that know what's happening in season 3, and 2 of them are not us.
Yeah.
Would you like more luck?
Like better luck?
Better luck?
Yeah.
But, better luck isn't really that dramatic.
We can make that happen for you.
How much luck would you like?
Oh, look, a clover.
I like that. Hurley finds a clover.
Nice.
It's good. Done.
Thank you.
Done.
Hi.
Hi.
First, I really love the podcast that you're doing, Damon and Carlton.
Thank you.
And I was wondering, when you do commentaries for DVD and that kind of thing, are you going to do the podcasts on them, or are you going to do new commentaries, or?
For the season 2 DVDs, we recorded separate commentaries. We all collectively did one for the first episode of the show from season 2, and there are a number of commentaries.
We did one for 23rd Psalm, and the writers and directors are talent. Did you do a commentary?
I did one
year?
for Dave.
Yeah.
I did one. Yunjin and I did one as well.
We try to have commentary tracks on, at least a third of the episodes. So
they're a little more on point because we're actually watching the show, and so we're not digressing about Damon not wearing any pants or anything.
Is Damon wearing pants
Which
now?
I'm not.
There was a lot of discussion backstage about whether Damon was going to wear his pants or not wear his pants, but he chose to wear his pants.
He's wearing pants, but they're not his pants. Yeah.
Thank you.
They're Daniel's pants.
Yeah, so many questions, and I can only choose one.
Don't choose that one.
Yeah, the next one.
Okay, I guess I won't find out her MySpace Earl. But I heard JJ is going to have a little more involvement in season 3. If you could let me know, or the rest of our JJ fans, let us know how that involvement is.
JJ is going to co-write the premiere episode, and he's hopefully going to direct the 7th episode, which will be the first episode of the second pod of shows.
All right, cool. Thank you. Conspiracy Spies Unite.
Thank you.
Hi. First off, Daniel and Jorge, my favorite characters of all on the show, so really good job. But the production staff, you're the only reason why I even turn on the TV just to watch Lost.
Oh, thanks, man.
Thank
you so much.
You're welcome. But my question is, because we didn't get to see a flashback for Libby, is she going to be like almost most of the characters' flashbacks that they're going to have?
Well, I mean, that would be how we would be able to tell her story. Sort of as the example is Christian Shepherd, who, was dead at the beginning of the show. But we learned his story by watching Jack's flashbacks and even seeing him in other characters' flashbacks as well. So yeah, that might be one way how we would see more of Libby's story.
We have a hard and fast rule on the show that we will always stick to, which is when a character dies on the show, they're dead. That's the only time you'd ever see them again is in someone else's flashback. We do that because we want the stakes on the island to be real. And there are characters, who have died, who have appeared in other people's memories. And I think if we were to tell you that you'd see Libby again, the sort of intriguing question would be, well, who did she cross paths with that we already know? And that's probably how you would be seeing her again.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, man.
How are ya?
I just wanted to say thanks for the 5 minutes of the poker scene with Sawyer. That was sick, man. And Jorge, I want to ask, how's Phil Hellmuth as a person? Is he a cool guy or?
Who?
Phil Hellmuth. When he taught you on the
really
poker.
Cool guy.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Now for the big guys right there on the right side, I was just wondering, what is there anything that goes along with like the rich, powerful fathers, like Son's dad, Jack's dad, Locke's dad, Libby's husband? Like, are they all like? Do they have to do anything with like the Dharma Initiative or?
I think that father issues are very much a part of the show thematically. I mean, that is something which we deal with extensively. And if you look at the characters on the show, a lot of the characters have daddy issues, and that's that is sort of a thematic thread and something which is very much a part of how we come up with stories and how we break stories.
There are obviously, one of the things that we love writing, and we feel like the fans who watch the show very closely love watching, is realizing at what level do certain characters connect to each other, and there are connections between Mr. Paik and various other parties that are sort of being alluded to. Not on the internet, but maybe gradually as we begin moving on the show. So, you're asking the right question, but we're certainly not going to confirm or deny it here.
Yeah. Thought I'd ask.
Thanks, man.
Guys.
Thanks.
We have time for one more question.
Ooh.
No pressure, though.
All right, everyone was telling me to ask this. Is there anything we can look forward to in season 3? Any general information you can give us?
Oh, that's a good.
Season 3 is...
what's that? Any? Oh, okay.
That's season 4. Season 3... that is all of season 5.
This is all gold.
I might not be naked.
All we
might
can say is
swim
we're
in my
definitely
blue
listening
jeans.
to your suggestions.
we're really excited about season 3, and one of the things, it's going to be vastly different feeling than the 2 seasons that preceded it, but at the same time, we're sort of re-embracing the roots that we love about the show. We feel that there's going to be a lot more adventure elements in season 3. Obviously, it's incredibly exciting to us that Kate and Jack and Sawyer have all been captured by these other people. So finally, we have an opportunity to learn more about these other people, who they are, where they came from, why they captured Kate, Jack, and Sawyer. But more importantly, this idea of telling an adventure story, a captivity story, and that's really going to be a big piece of at least the first 6 episodes, the sort of miniseries event. And then something is going to happen about midway through the year that will effectively, hopefully, fry everybody's brains. If it doesn't, we'll once again get cries of jumping the shark. But as we always say, once we stop trying to jump the shark, the show is going to become incredibly boring. And this element has always been part of the sort of DNA of the show. So we've got a lot of factors coming back: Desmond and Locke and Echo. What happened to them down there? And how did they survive, if they survived?
And we're going to have a lot of, and truly we are going to have more emphasis on the character relationships and romance on the show this year. We're going to be introducing new characters on the show and the mystery of who they are and where they came from and what their flashback stories will be a part of the show. And obviously at the end of last season, we did something which we hadn't done for the first 49 hours of the show. We took you to the outside world, and that was very significant in sort of laying the seeds for a whole new element that is going to come into the show. And obviously, the Penny and Desmond's relationship and the, kind of that scene sort of teed up something which will become more significant in the show this year as well. And so we're actually really excited. We have a really cool game plan, and we sort of see each of the seasons of the show as like a book. I mean, like in the Harry Potter series, and each one has its own character and its own story. And this season will be in a lot of ways about our characters' interactions with the others, and we will get to know a lot about their society. But as Damon said, with a real sort of action adventure orientation.
And naked Hurley and Jen. All that. Alrighty. Well, do we have one more, or what?
Do we have time? One more.
All right, the final question.
What's up? I'm Joanna, and I am a Lost-aholic.
Hi, Diane.
I have not missed an episode of you guys. I love you all. You're like Daniel and Jorge. You guys rock on so many levels. Give it up.
Thank you.
What I want to know is like about Alex, Russo's daughter, and I want to know is like, are you bringing her back next year? Are you going to develop more of her character? Because it showed that she helped Claire escape, and I want to know is like, she good, bad? She's really confused because
Well, I mean, she is part of the Others community, and we're going to spend a lot of time exploring that community. So
I would want to see Alex if I were watching the show.
If I was a fan of the show, I would be very mad if you didn't see Alex.
It's like, what's the name of the first episode?
The first episode is called A Tale of Two Cities.
Really?
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much. This is awesome.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you very, very much.
Give it up.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
That concludes this edition of the official Lost Podcast. Join us again in a few weeks for a special video interview with Jorge Garcia and Daniel Day Kim at the unveiling of Todd McFarlane's latest toy, modeled after none other than Jorge himself. And as always, don't forget you can find lots of Lost extras at lost.abc.com.